What's going on, everybody? It's your man, Hunter Grand, your personal agent for change, making life easy, Barzini.
And I'm fempreneur extraordinaire, tech diva all day, Dre Renee.
And this is the Crossroads, where there's only one rule.
Be free to be you.
Man,
Happy Monday!
all of that. Surprise, y'all. First of all, let me
Yay!
get my lips ready for the show. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, y'all getting plain Dre today because y'all almost didn't get me at all.
I'm
Okay?
making sure I'm on my zaddy status tonight. Like, hold on.
You got it. You got it.
Make sure
I'm
the,
glad I'm cute without all the bells and whistles because
the
you
lips, I
getting
gotta make sure the lips is all supple.
stop moving because your camera is confused.
You know what? I'm not even right. Even
All
my
that,
camera, the
all
camera's
that
like,
extra.
all that extraness. The camera's like,
Be,
"Phew."
be still. Be
I'm not
still.
fooling with this camera tonight. How you doing though?
I'm good, I'm let me not say that. I'm okay. I'm okay.
Mhm.
I lost one of my cousins and one of my good friends. We grew up together as friends
Mhm.
before we even knew we were related. So, um, unexpectedly passed over the weekend, or at least unexpected to me. And so it's just been pretty emotional past couple of days and just overall just a little tired. So I'm
Mhm.
counting down for some unplugged time and R&R and I'm looking forward to that. But I'm glad to be here with you guys. So you always help make me feel better, even on the
Mhm.
days that you probably don't know that I'm not feeling the best. So I'm still glad to be here. Thank you, Stephanie. I appreciate it, and of course, seeing your face because I haven't seen you and I haven't spoken to you in
A week.
a little while. Yeah,
Yeah, well, a little over a week, almost two now.
yeah.
Um,
I think it's closer to two. So
yeah,
we
almost closer to
we
two.
catching up while we're catching up.
Yeah, we catching up. Are we catching up? Well, first of all, I love you, and I'm sorry that that's occurring. So definitely my prayers for you and the family and everything else, and big old long distance hugs as usual. So you already know, dial me up if you need to cry, scream, vent, you know, and everything. So that's always tough.
Yes. I'm in the space of feeling my emotions. So that's why I had to correct myself from, like I do feel something,
Mm-hmm.
I am okay, but I
Right.
do feel
You
something.
can
So I
name it,
don't want,
name it the feelings. I get it, and we gotta do that. Well, hopefully tonight we can bring some joy. If
I know. I kind of hate that. It also made me feel a little tender toward Jada, and I don't really want to be tender toward her, but I feel kind of
listen, it's got to be live the truth, live the truth. You know what I'm saying?
I
Like,
feel a little tender. Yeah.
um, I mean, listen, I'll take the untenderness that
Okay.
that you was going. I got enough for both of us.
Okay. All right. Hold it down.
You already know what it is. You already know what it
Hold
is.
it down. Hold it down.
Um, but yeah, a lot was going on Barack Obama's internet this past week. Um, and we gonna try to get into all of it. Also, I want to give a shout out to Stephanie while she's on here. Happy birthday, sis. That's my big sis.
Oh, come
You
on.
know,
Happy
she
birthday.
just celebrated her 60th. You know what I'm saying?
All
And
right. What a
and
blessing.
looked good doing it. So I dropped in to celebrate with her and my other sisters, my big sisters that looked out for me when I uh was working over there in Compton. you know
Absolutely.
they took me in under their wing and always looked out for me. So I got to be little bro.
That's awesome. That's
So
awesome.
they always took care of me, and everything else. But since we got so much to get into this week, we're gonna pay these bills first, and we're gonna get the party started. We thank y'all for joining us on a Monday on the pop-up.
Yeah. On the
um
pop up.
Just some housekeeping though before we do that. We will not be on our regular day tomorrow. So today is taking the place of tomorrow. So if you are looking for us tomorrow, we won't be here. But guess what? We'll be here. Y'all can replay this and the
Yeah.
myriad of all the episodes that we have up. Watch them episodes, y'all. We getting them watch hours up. Also, if you haven't subscribed, subscribe because I'm gonna say it again in about literally a minute. Um, and also share this with at least two people. Y'all, we are about 33
Right.
subscriptions away
It's
from
like just
me. We right there. We right there. So please share this, share this. But in the spirit of sharing, y'all, the Crossroads podcast, as always, is brought to you by the House of 334.
it's the house.
For all your business, branding, and copyright needs, go to houseof334.com. It is Black owned, it is woman owned, it is Black woman owned, and it is amazing. And make sure you move quick because the house does fill up fast. The Crossroads podcast is also brought to you by The Crossroads. Y'all can find out everything that we're doing at our bit.ly. That's bit.ly/ The Crossroads. That's THEXROSSROADZ for everything that we do, including this channel here that you're on right now. So make sure you scroll down, hit the subscribe button, hit the share button, copy the link, send it to some people, say, hey, help my friends out to meet their goal. This first goal so we can monetize this channel because we don't want to rely solely on your donations, but we do thank you for your donations. And if you want to donate to the podcast, you can do that via our bit.ly. We love those who give a little, those who give a lot. That makes this thing go. This is a labor of love, but love ain't free. And if you think it is, tell your landlord that you love them, right? And see what
Hmm.
he say. It hasn't worked for me yet, but maybe y'all have a better luck with it, right? But I can't stress enough to like and subscribe the channel, y'all. We are working feverishly, and I don't know why the finish line. And this isn't the finish line. This is the first finish line.
Right.
This is the first lap. um, but we did what? We got our first 100 subscribers in less than a week of building the channel, and this last 33 has been.
Yeah. First 100, no problem.
Yeah.
Last 100,
Oh.
woo.
Listen, we've been grinding for this last 100.
Oh,
And
we
that
got
and
this
as we grow, I
podcast.
know the subscriptions will come, but we want to get to this first milestone of 500 subscribers, y'all. And we can't do that without y'all. So please help us out. Send it right now. Post it on your page. Get people over here to the channel because we talking about what everybody been talking about all week long. So
Mm.
but first what we're gonna get into is our weekly obligatory college football.
Ooh, I almost see, and
It
just to
was
let you
not a
know that
good
I
week for us.
operate in integrity because I could have just left this off the schedule. I could have
Uh-huh.
just been like, you know
I
what,
saw,
we're
I
not
saw it.
talking about football
I was
today.
like, oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, I said we was gonna talk. We gonna talk about it. Let's just go on and talk about it. But
Should we start with that so we can get it out the way? Okay,
they
so
both
I'll
together, so
okay, yeah.
freaking frat.
So even though last week, I was torn, but hearts hurt this week. Both USC and Colorado lost their games in extraordinary fashion.
Whew.
Yeah, SC fell to Notre Dame, which was supposed to be competitive, but yeah, they got to SC. We just got to we got to do something about that defense. You know, you got to do. Caleb Williams gonna do what he does, but
Right.
that defense has not done its part, and I know that was tough to watch. I personally didn't get to see that game,
I
considering
was
where I
there
was.
like I should turn this off, and then I was like, don't do that because I had already watched the Colorado game go the way that it went. So I was like,
Oh,
okay,
okay.
I'm gonna hold out hope that we'll get the big turnaround, and it didn't turn around. It just
It-
the deep. It was so bad. It was so bad. But
what
I
was the
hung in there
final?
to the very last. Oh shoot! Look, I was gonna say I hung it to the very last, and then I turned away. I was not even trying to stay close to that. Let's see, it was 48-20.
Mm, mm. Yeah,
48-20, and
yeah.
it was close, and then it was not. It was like, Notre Dame was up, SC came back, bang bang, with a couple of field goals, and then we got a touchdown. I'm like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, ooh, got slower. And I was like, oh, glad I wasn't popping mess on the internet. It's just, I had been quiet. So,
Yeah, that humble pie does come quick. But shout out to the
mm.
Trojans, and the Trojan family
Do
still
you think
fight
Caleb
on.
is still has a chance of winning the Heisman
Yeah,
or
no,
again?
he still has a chance. I don't think he's the front runner at this point though. I think
Mm-hmm.
Penix is, um, because I had an amazing game against Oregon. So y'all losing to Notre Dame and then Washington beating a ranked team doesn't really help
Yeah.
his.
Mm.
But he did take down Bo Nix though, so that's the thing that because they're both Heisman candidates, so it kind of helped Dan, her. But
Mm-hmm.
um, I don't think. I mean, yeah, it'll be dope to see him win back to back Heisman's, but like right now, everybody's talking about he's the biggest uh quarterback prospect probably ever. Like,
Mm-hmm.
they are super high on him, and I think the hype is good and bad, but because when they hype someone up so much and they get to the league and they don't meet the hype, it's all bad. I'd hate to see that for him. So I want to see kind of mid hype, so
Mm-hmm.
he got some room to kind of grow because they're gonna expect him to get to the league, and then he's likely going to a sucky team,
Right.
so and they're gonna expect like this big turnaround uh immediately, which is not really gonna happen. But that aside, Colorado, a tale of two halves.
Child. Now, did you watch the whole game, or I came in at halftime? So
I
I think a lot of people were leaving as I was entering the building.
so yes and no. I was dog tired, so I was there from the beginning, and I fell asleep on accident.
Mm,
And so when I woke up, they was up. It was like the end of the half, 29-0. So I'm like, which would
right.
I kind of expected. And then that second half came, and
Yeah.
I forgot his name. Oh boy, number 13 was cooking
It
like
was just
300
it was
yards.
something unreal. It was something unreal. So when I saw 29-0, when I turned it on, I was like, oh, I probably don't have to watch this. And so I don't know what we were watching. We were watching some show. We might have been watching Top Boy, but we was something on Netflix. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna keep the score pinned on my phone, just so
Mm.
just see how
Oh,
how
you
bad this
kept
is
seeing
gonna
that. You
get.
kept getting them alerts, huh?
I'm looking down like, hold on, this is starting to starting to
Hmm.
even out. And so soon I was like, hey, we gonna need this put this on the big
Listen,
screen. I
listen.
was trying to follow it on my phone. I was like, I can't believe what I'm seeing.
Hmm.
And so, Travis Hunter, and I thought when he got hit, I don't know if that had anything to do with it, but he took a hit that I was like, oh, Jesus, that might
Yeah, he was
put
getting
him
cooked,
right back to
but
where he came from.
right, he was getting cooked. But I mean, first game back, you ain't gonna be phenomenal every game, and um, yeah, again, their defense as well. They give up a lot of size, and their defense has to improve dramatically as well. But
Mm.
I knew if once it went to overtime, I knew that I just felt my spirit they wasn't
Oh,
going.
yeah. Yeah, once you let somebody come back like that, come on now.
Right.
And I
So, but
know they have had some spectacular finishes, but
yeah.
I wasn't convinced this was gonna
Well,
go
like
that.
the thing is, you got to play the game. It ain't on. You can't just win on paper. You know what I'm saying? And you can't
Mm-hmm.
take anybody lightly. And I won't say they took them lightly, but just because you up, you got to play four
Let's stay
quarters.
up. Yeah,
You got to play
yeah.
4 quarters, and they didn't play 4 quarters, and they paid for it. But still, shout out to Coach Prime. Shout out to Colorado. You know what I'm saying? We still riding with y'all. You can't lose like that no more.
Child,
Especially at home to a team you were supposed to beat,
you're
you know.
supposed to be.
But
You're
I
supposed to
think
be.
it's everything is a lesson, and you gotta learn, and we gotta see growth and improvement. Oh, wow, I'm yawning so much on the damn show. My
I'm
bad,
like,
y'all.
you
Oh,
tired?
yeah, I am
Hey,
really.
Callie Bell, welcome. Surprise for those of you. I wonder how many of you are subscribed and have clicked the bell so that you got the alert that we were on. I don't know
Hmm.
if you saw the post today that we were going on tonight.
That, and I've
Hopefully
been,
you did. But that's a perk of being a subscriber.
I got the
And
alert
so did I.
because I'm a subscriber.
That's it. You're on.
Yeah, I need to know.
Well,
You know what I'm saying, every
welcome,
time we
welcome
come
those
on.
of you who are just joining in. We just want to remind you, if you haven't already, please subscribe. Like, we know that you all are watching. We know that, you are roadies and road dogs, but the subscriber number doesn't always reflect the love that we feel. Okay. And so we have a goal that we are super, when I say super close to, super, super close to, like just over 30 subscribers that we need to hit the next goal that we have. And so, again, if you're watching now, you're enjoying this content, share with somebody, make sure you're subscribed. I've had a couple people go, I thought I was subscribed. So, just in case, check,
Listen,
make sure
I'll
that
be
you're
taking
subscribed.
people's phone. I'm like, let me see your
I
phone
know
real
that's right.
quick.
I know that's right. Like, I ain't
I'm
gonna
like,
say I don't trust you, but
yeah. I'll be taking people's phone. Let me see. I'm gonna be a hypocrite for a second. So I'm on record saying that I'm really not the guy that worry about when you get in a relationship, y'all gotta post each other, and then folks be like, oh, if you don't post it, it ain't real, and if they can't post you, they hiding something, right? I don't like that in relationships. But when it comes to this relationship, the crossroads,
you gotta say our name.
I need y'all to say my name, post me. Cross, you know what I'm
And
saying?
shout out to Jazz because Jazz absolutely posted us and tagged. I got the tag, so
Hmm.
shout out to you for doing that.
We want to feel the love is real. You know what I'm
Yes,
saying?
we do.
If you
Yes,
ain't
we do.
posted it, it ain't real.
It ain't real.
We want that public love. We want that PDA love.
Indeed.
So y'all,
Indeed.
let's get into why we are here, especially on a Monday. Um, it's a couple of big. It's about, well, like three big stories, and two of them is going to come together. So I'm gonna bring this one in because so a couple of weeks ago we had quite the spirited debate about what happens in dating and relationships.
Right. Yep.
And Drake questioned if women really behave in a manner based on like
No, I
finance.
said, who are these women?
Who are
I,
these
I
women?
didn't, yeah.
So yeah, so we had the who are these women
I
debate, and
wanted
when you
them to
say
be
that you're
named.
invalidated and all that other stuff, right? I sent a few screenshots since then, but there's a video that's going around where there's a young lady sitting in the car and she's refusing to get out because he pulled up to Cheesecake Factory. Now the whole video kind of unfolds and says they went to Cheesecake Factory because they missed a reservation at another restaurant because she was late, and everything else. Now, caveat: the video, if you don't know, the video is actually a skit. I forget her name, and I should have gotten her name and done my due diligence, but she's actually a podcast host, and I would have shout out the podcast as well. But it was a setup for a discussion on her podcast. So it
Okay.
was not real. However, the scenario um, is real, hence the skit, right? And so they were like having the discussion. And there's also another video of a lady mentioning she's going out on a date, and she's mentioning that this dude has been talking to himself in her DMs for weeks, and she's decided to go out, to get some content basically on his dime at some place that she wanted to go to. And it's like oyster night, and she orders like 4 dozen oysters, of which you see them bringing 4 dozen oysters, and then orders a meal like after that, and some
And
drinks.
drinks. Yeah.
Now I believe it to be a skit as well because you don't see the guy. And in the video, like I guess he got up to go to the bathroom and stuck her with the bill, whatever. But again, it's about the scenario because both of these scenarios have been debated, ad nauseum, like all over the place. And you've seen some. That's right. The Cheesecake Factory is disgusting. Why would you take somebody there? That's not a real first date. And then you've seen some that's like men and women alike on both sides. It's there. There hasn't been like an overwhelming number gender wise. Well, I haven't seen any men that were averse to Cheesecake Factory. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
but so all of the men that I've seen are kind of like, what's wrong with her? I would have took her home. blah blah blah, and then it's been split between the women of what I've seen in my timeline. And today we eat, drink, get to know. I have to say ghetto at first. Get to know one another. Why do folks make this hard? Like not being able to say filet mignon or chimichurri is supposed to be fun. So yeah, I'm like, so I'm gonna start with you, Dre. What are your thoughts like on the video, seeing it come from someone other than me? You
Right,
know,
right.
this haven't been prompted and posted by a woman, right?
Well, okay. So, of course, when I first watched both of them, I didn't realize they were skits. I was hoping that
Hmm.
they were, but I just took it, kind of at face value. And so I'm screaming. Let's start with the Cheesecake Factory video. Not to take for granted that everybody has seen it at this point, but there's a young lady that's recording herself on a date. The date is trying to open her door to take her to dinner at the Cheesecake Factory, and she is like mortified, like the Cheesecake Factory, like to somebody that looks
Look
like
like me.
me, right? And I hashtag boo, and I was like, what does she look like? Like I was trying to understand what does look like me
Mhm.
mean. I was like, I don't get the correlation, but I guess she was saying she looked too good to be at a chain restaurant. Now,
Mhm.
especially those of us from LA, like, the Cheesecake Factory, at least the one that we used to go to, was at the
Mhm.
marina. So you have the
Marina. Mhm.
water, like it's like a little fancy little bit, right? So I was like, oh dang, maybe I'm
Basic.
as elevated, right? She was having a fit about to the point like not opening the door. No, no, I'm not, trying to show him on camera. So he's like, well, let's talk about it. Gets back in the car. They're talking about it. And so, long story short, she goes into, all the other type of options that she would have expected him to choose. And he actually shows her that he had made reservations, somewhere that was very upscale, but she was late, right? So he told her to be ready by a certain time. I think she was over an hour late. And so the backup, if you will, was the Cheesecake Factory. And so she's like, well, can't we go there? He's like, no, we can't go there. We're here.
Right,
So
like,
he's talking about expectations, what her expectations were. And then he talked about what his expectations were. And one, of course, was to be timely because, she missed out on what he had originally planned for her. Ultimately, in the conversation, he's like, I mean, I'm paraphrasing, like, I don't really like your attitude. And so as a result, since I'm not doing what you want, you're not doing what I want, let me just take you home. I clapped it up. I was like, wow, that's pretty good. And it's
mhm.
also good that he took her home because, if it was me, I'd have been like, you can get out right here and
Mhm.
then figure out the rest if you want to, sis. But don't do as Dre does. Just, do like he did.
Mhm.
That was a nice gentleman thing to do. But ultimately a skit. But her whole face, she's a good actress because her whole
Mhm.
face was
Just yeah, no, they played it off. I mean, some people were like, "Oh, it's not very good acting." I'm like, it was good enough
no,
for
it
people
was
to see
good
that it was
enough to
real,
put the get the point across.
right?
Okay, it was good
And
enough.
go viral. So
Yeah.
my question for you, right?
Hmm.
Especially since it didn't come from me, nor did it come from a man, right? And the point of the skit was that this is a real thing.
Hmm.
um, like, what are your thoughts knowing that this is a thing? Not that you didn't know, but like that it's more common than people know
Yeah,
or want to
I
accept.
definitely knew that it exists. I guess seeing it
Hmm.
uh was just a little unnerving, but it's clear why there are a lot of women dealing with some of the things that they're dealing with. Because
Hmm.
if this is how you're approaching a date, like it was just rude. Like
Hmm.
forget everything else. Like this is how you're treating another human being that doesn't owe you anything, that was being kind to you, that was showing genuine interest. And it wasn't like he rolled up with a crinkled McDonald bag, even if he did that, but he didn't do that. Right. So I'm
Hmm.
like, that's a far cry from like, I've been digging in the bag, eating your fries, and then I passed it to you and the Cheesecake Factory. Like,
Right.
sis, right? But it looked and sounded unreasonable. It did make me angry. Um, and I was just like, ugh.
Hmm.
So I mean, I don't necessarily know what else to say outside of like, and I still don't feel like the women that gather here and that are commenting and are part of our community. I really hope that's not them. But if it is, if you happen to be watching this and that is the type of behavior that you exhibited, I hope
Hmm.
that by watching that, like it stirred something up in you, like, mm, that's not cute,
Hmm.
it's rude, it's unnecessary. And if you call yourself in a position where you want to be in a loving relationship, like how do you think you get from that to somebody like being in love with you and putting a ring on your finger?
Hmm.
I don't know how you get there.
I'm my thing is where I struggle is even before that, right? Let's just go where we always talk about expectations. And I just always get confused how you can have an expectation of anybody that you just met, right? Like a lot of people, especially now in the dating app age, the first date is usually the first meeting with a lot of people
Mm-hmm.
nowadays, right? It's not like, hey, we've met, we've seen each other around and then we've gone on a date. A lot of times it's I've seen you online, we start to talk, hey, we should meet up somewhere, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so if we take it from that perspective, it's like, how do you have this expectation of this upscale, expensive first date? And um the goes a little like, yeah, trust me, you'll set up a day when it's time. Like but even that, like one,
So are you saying like there should be nobody should have expectations? We just show up and kind of whatever happens happens, or are you saying the level of the expectation is too high?
I really think we shouldn't have an expectation at all. We have preferences, right? And when you meet somebody, either they meet your preference, or not. But to say, because to me, right, and correct me, when I hear expectation, this is what you have to do or what you're supposed to do for me, right? Or in this whatever. And most of the time, these things are unspoken, and we feel like it's basic. Or you see a whole lot of people say, "Oh, don't accept bare minimum." But
Mm-hmm.
what else can you expect from somebody you just met? Right? Like if I'm just meeting you, we have nothing invested or whatever. The bare minimum is what you which you know what I mean? I would be expecting bare minimum, whatever that looks like to me. You know
Okay,
what I
I'm with
mean?
Shannon. Yeah, I don't see expectations as what you're supposed to do. I see
Hmm.
them as expectation, like what I hope you will do, what I would prefer for you to do.
Hmm.
But yeah, what you have to do is
Right. But see, but in this video, it's playing out as a demand, right? Like,
hmm
oh, take me somewhere nicer. Like, don't take me to Cheesecake Factory. That's a demand. And
right.
nobody's earned that. You ain't earned whatever restaurant. You see what I'm saying? Especially when it's not even something that you've discussed. You know,
Okay.
expectations are your
Well,
rise.
Pop said there needs to be an agreement,
Hmm.
so that's something
And
that we need to
right.
talk about.
And there's usually not, right? So it's
hmm
like, you know, right. And
So
so I
you
think,
have
yeah.
not gone on a date with an expectation of a young lady, whether it was to look a certain way, to dress a certain way, to behave a certain way. You're just like
I'm
whatever it
showing up to see
turns
who
out being.
you are, right? And either I like it or I don't. You know what I mean? I
Okay.
can't expect anything from somebody I don't know, right? And so I think we have expectations as human beings to be respectful and kind. You know what I
hmm
mean? But that's just be as humans, not even in a dating situation, right? So yeah, I would
hmm
expect that, like kindness and mutual respect for one another. At the time that let's be honest with each other, because I knew them, they married
Yeah.
up to the older him. Da-da-da-da. Yeah, and I don't even have like I don't have a goal for you, so I also don't have an expectation for you. Now, as we grow to get to know one another, like Pop said, there's an agreement. Like when we agree upon something, yes, there's an expectation, right? So, okay, if we agree upon a time, I would say there's an expectation there. I expect, punctuality
Especially being
or
mhm.
communication if that expectation is not going to be met, right? So for me, sometimes I might be running late. Hey, my bad. I'm running about 15 minutes behind. I'll be there at such and such a time, right? To
Okay.
respect their time and they just not sitting there waiting. You know what I mean? But I think when we talk expectations, demands, and everything else, most of these are rooted in people's perception of themselves and not the perception that they've given someone else, right? It's like, I see me like this, and so you should see me like this too. And because I
Mm-hmm.
see me like this is where you should be taking me. This is where, this is how much you should be spending. Oh, first date, you should be spending at least $300. We've seen this,
Mm-hmm.
like
Mm-hmm.
dollar amounts and all this other stuff. And I'm kind of like,
And do you think that's because of the rise of social media? Because that wasn't, especially with specific dollar amounts, right? Like we
mhm.
weren't dating in the 90s, early 2000s, talking about a $200 date. Like that
Well, that's
wasn't.
because our check was probably $200.
We was like, meet us down to the Margarita Mondays with the homies.
Right, or Acapulco or something like yeah, I would say us being younger and not influenced by social media kind of helped us in dating. And I think we were just easier with the expectation, but I absolutely do believe uh social media plays, because you see a lot of people corroborate things and co-sign things that they haven't even experienced.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, kind of like, okay, for example, the what do you do in text conversation? Oh yeah, I hate. Like, how does the entire community simultaneously hate WID? Right?
Yeah.
Knock it off. It's
Yeah.
not that deep. And we make things a thing that weren't previously a thing because it just sounds good. You know what I mean? And so I think this is one of them. And so you hear like, oh, take me on a real date. Like, what is a real date versus a not real date? Right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, let's go for coffee. No, take me on a real date. What is that? You know what I mean? Like, why is going out for coffee and maybe a walk or something, sitting somewhere, not a real date? Like, what are the parameters
I
of a
think
real?
that's based on expectations, right? So, like, if
Mhm,
you're dating someone whose idea of that is more,
mhm,
than yours is, I think where we wind up with issue is that, the people are incongruent. And instead of telling the truth, this is what I want versus this is what I want, you don't even go on that first date while you're talking on the phone or while you're texting each other on the app or whatever. You should be discussing what that looks like. And if it's not in line, then, swipe
mhm.
whatever direction.
Because I want to know what I should expect. Like, if especially ladies, if you can put specific places and dollar amounts as expectations, then what can he expect from you? And see, and that's where I think it gets real murky, because as soon as he
It don't
expects
get murky. It
anything,
get it's
oh, it get
you
real
know what
clear.
it is. It's real clear. It's murky.
No, I'm talking about with her. Like, okay, and I'm saying the conversation gets murky when you start asking the expectation of her. You see what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? A lot of people appropriate other people's experience as their own without ever experiencing themselves. Yeah. So, and we
Yeah.
see that like all the time on social media. So, ladies, chime in. What can men expect from you? Right? And I want to take it to the first date. Right? You have an expectation. You say, hey, boom, uh I want to go to, what I'm saying, the steakhouse. You got a dollar amount expectation that he should be spending on you, right? Based on your perception of self, because he doesn't know you yet. What about him? What does he get? What does he get
Yeah.
to expect?
And
You know?
maybe that's why I'm not gonna say I don't have expectations or have not had expectations for a first date, but I believe that's why they were never in the stratosphere like this, because I'm very clear if a man is taking you to some sort of five-star Michelin, star restaurant and all these type of experiences, there's a good chance, okay, that his expectation is a little more than a handshake at the door at the end of the night. And so, hello, I don't know why in life. Let's not even talk about men and women, right? Like you can't go anywhere or be involved in any type of situation where there's not give and take. Like,
Mhm.
where do you exist where you just get everything and don't give anything?
Outside of childhood, and even then,
And even then, so right, so
if not,
like
not if hold up,
you
not
clean
if you
your
David
room and do
Hannah's
all these
son.
chores, and maybe you might get an allowance,
Listen,
right?
if you David Hannah's son, oh, you gonna give.
Right. And so, yeah, it's just really weird to think that you can then come into a situation with a perfect stranger and expect that they give you not just their very best, but go beyond probably what their means are to impress you. And then you just sit back and slurp oysters like that.
Right.
Cray, cray. Okay,
Yeah.
let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Expectation. I think women who say they're used to being the girl that brothers just want to smash, and that's it. Unfortunately, I think women did I read that right? Who say
Mhm.
that?
I
I
think
think there
women
might
who
be
say
something
that,
missing there.
it just
Oh, are
okay.
you okay? This is a punctuation. Are used to being the girl that brothers just want to smash, and that's it. Unfortunately.
Yeah, yeah.
Beware of a person that constantly uses the pronouns me, I, my, I want, I need, I expect. Run like hell. Oh, grateful. Let's start there. A little gratuity goes a long way, ladies. That's a good
That's a
point.
start. That's definitely a
That
start.
is a start. That is a start. So that it's not just like, yeah, you better had done this, but like, thank you for doing this. Thank you for planning. Thank you for paying. Thank you for thinking of me. Thank you for whatever the case may be. I expect him to smell good, be well groomed, and be ready to converse. He can expect a thank you and a hug when we're done if the conversation is worth staying for the time schedule.
How long of a hug?
Right. Lingering. The best first date I've had was riding bikes at the park. We had fun. Simple.
And you know
Exactly.
what?
I think
And
it's expressing. Go ahead.
no, I'm saying the simplest dates are the fun are
They
fun.
are fun. They are fun. There was someone on Facebook that had a post about like, your thoughts about first dates or what you thought a good first date was. And there were people with all different types. And she was like super judgmental, like, we have to want better for ourselves. And I was like, how much better can I get than a husband? Like, this first date worked for me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, you still first dating. And I
Right.
really don't like throwing my status around like that. But
Hey, but
because
still.
she did that, I was like, I don't really know what else we need. I don't pray to God. I don't have to have a first date again, but you still
Mhm.
out here trying to figure out, how to get somebody to take you on one. Be
Right.
thankful.
And that's the crazy part because you have a lot of women who have gone on expensive, fancy first dates and most dates after that, and they're still searching. So the data doesn't, you know what I'm saying, support that that's what it is. And also to demand that, or expect that, you set yourself up for the bad when you're setting a precedent that can't be maintained by the average guy.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because where do you go from there? And I also,
Come on, tacos,
you see what I'm
child.
saying?
That's all
Look,
I need right there. We
yeah,
can
thank
we
you,
can do
baby
that.
girl.
We can do.
But but and here's the crazy part. The more a woman, in my experience, the more a woman makes that I've dated, the simpler the dates have been.
Oh yeah. I
You know what I
mean,
mean?
it's very clear that there are women that are using dates to have experiences that they cannot provide for themselves. That is,
And that's what's crazy to me. Like you have an
yeah,
expectation that you cannot facilitate. You know what I mean? And I
I
don't
like
know.
that. Why not start out at a reasonable level and build up from there? If you start at the top, all you're gonna do is hit the bottom. Amen.
Or how about this? We start at a reasonable level and stay there.
Oh, well,
Like,
or you can do that. Again,
you're right.
it
I'm
depends
not
on
saying like,
whoever you're with,
yeah, I'm not
right?
saying we can't go to do that kind of stuff, but like all the time, like what like I said before when we were talking about the charcuterie.
And when he said going up from there, I don't think it was like a consistent meaning like we've unlocked a new level, but we still
Mhm.
have all this to kind of revert back to. So
Yeah,
maybe, you start with the coffee date, but at a certain point in time, you do go to a steakhouse. It doesn't mean from there on everything has to be steak,
yeah.
lobster, shrimp. It just means, we're
I
there.
just
Maybe the
yeah, I
next
just
time
want
is a
to.
staycation, not next time, but
Right.
as you're building up. That's what I understood him
I just
to
want to
be.
know from them folks that think this way, what am I going to learn about you at the steakhouse that I can't learn about you at the coffee house? That's always my question, right? If
Yeah.
this is
But that's
getting to know
assuming
you,
that they want to get to know you. If my
no, I
goal
mean that's
is to
always
take advantage of you,
right. That's
then
always the words though. You know what I'm saying?
mhm.
Like, oh, we're supposed to be getting to know each other. Cool. What am I
Oh, she's
going to
getting to know
learn?
your pockets. I can't
Right.
get to know your
Yeah.
pockets at the
And I'm
Starbucks.
and I'm getting to know what side of the menu you because you already know my philosophy. You know what I'm saying? And they need to have that label. What side of the menu? You feel me?
Mm.
But it's
So okay, so let's talk about that. Is if you were assured at the end of the night that the price of the date would then lead to some sort of physical
Mhm.
reciprocation, would it then be okay? Or is it just because,
No.
oh, I'm expected to spend money, but you are going to give me a
If
hug
I'm
at the end of the
if
night?
you gonna put a price on it, I'm gonna just go get a professional. And
I'm just
that way,
asking. I'm
yeah.
just asking if that the reason why it's a thing. Like if men knew at the end of the night, and not that there's a specific price, but let's just say, for these types of dates that have been described, that at the end of the night, if you wanted to, that's on the table. Would it then be okay to
Okay,
request
so this is gonna sound.
oysters
I don't know
and
how this is going to sound. I'm not even gonna say it's gonna sound bad.
okay,
I've had nights end very well for much less, monetarily anyway. You know what I
okay.
mean?
Shannon said yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I
Okay,
was like,
cool.
is it cool? Okay.
Yeah, but for me, I'm saying if I'm spending it, yeah, it feels better. But like at the end of the day, we do want an ROI, right? But I will say this: it's more about, like you said, assurances, and those assurances doesn't necessarily mean physicality, right? Let's just say I
Okay.
like you. I like
Mm-hmm.
you. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not assured how you feel about me. I'm not assured that this goes beyond this. You know, if we had assurances that feelings and expectations or what we want from each other are mutual and reciprocated, yeah, I think that we're more willing to, which is why we say, hey, let's lead up to that, because the further you go, the more assurances you have typically. You see what I'm saying? I know
Okay.
that you're not using me for this. I know that you like me and you're enjoying my time as well. And also, like, are we doing some things for free or cheaper? Or are we always doing this? Like, what's the pattern of behavior? So I don't disagree with Shannon on that. It's the return on the investment, whatever that looks like to you. You see what I'm saying? It could be sex, it could be more time or other dates or something like that. It just depends, because there's women who I just love being in the company of. Like, dang, I really enjoy talking to you and spending time with you. Like, you're dope, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then there's those, it's like your company is cool, but I'm more physically attracted, and I'm more there, right? It
Mm-hmm.
just it depends on, and there's some women that have looked at me the same way. It's like, we cool, but the sex is better. And that's what we are. So I think it depends on the situations, but to want to put a price on certain things, because like what if men were overt with their price, right? Like, hey, the price is sex. You know what I'm saying? This dinner is gonna cost you sex.
Mm-hmm.
We can't say that out loud. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But you're naming your price out loud, right? Maybe not necessarily the dollar amount, but the range of the restaurant speaks for itself. You know what I'm saying? So why is it a problem if he names his price? since we naming prices. And
Yeah.
so
I mean,
we
I don't think it is. I feel like, it's open and honest. I mean, will it be seen perhaps by some people as like, oh, that's crass or whatever? But it's like, this is what it is. If this is what you want, this is what it's going to take. And
Mhm.
then you can make the decision about whether or not
Yeah.
that's something
But you
you want to
often,
give up.
yeah, you often hear from ladies, oh, she don't owe you just because you took her to dinner, or because just because she don't owe you anything. I didn't owe her that dinner, so why act like I owe you an expensive restaurant?
Hmm.
You know. Um,
So if she expects an expensive date, does that draw a flag that she may only want the one date as a return on her investment conversation?
um, again, like,
I guess it's hard to tell, right? Like she could want that one date, or she could be setting the expectation of this is what I want all our dates to be. I don't know if you would
I
know
mean,
that off top.
actually, I'll say this: I would appreciate if she said that, so I can exit stage left quicker,
Hmm.
and we don't have to waste conversations. You know what I'm saying? So like the time I met this one chick, and we hopped on the
I'll
phone.
say I got the secret weapon. I don't even have to take her out to get on some of that. Ooh.
Listen, I'll put it to you this way: if I hadn't seen it happen, I would have something to say
I'm
about
not
it.
doubting it. I'm not doubting it at all. I'm just saying, come on now.
Listen, and like I'll say this: like everybody has a gift if you know how to hone it. Like
Hmm.
people always talk about my gift of gab, right? Or let's say I have a silver tongue, or okay, cool. I'm a great time, regardless of where we go. Hey, you've been out with me. Why you think we're friends? I'm a great time,
Okay,
right?
come on. Yeah.
So
I'm
she's like, I'm not
excitable.
arguing. And but like I want to provide experiences, and those experiences can look different. Sometimes they cost a little, sometimes they cost a lot. You know what I'm saying? And so sometimes you can get away with not doing the expensive things if you just know how to have fun. You know what I'm saying? Like, can you stimulate? If she's like, because it's real sexy now to be a sapiosexual. That's the new buzzword that,
Oh Lord.
right? You see that on every
Oh,
other
it sounds smart.
profile, right? And so it's like, okay, let's see if you truly are. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
But I do think that it's it's creating such a divide and a strain when it comes to dating or finding love. You know what I'm saying? Like, because if you truly want to be loved, then putting all these stipulations on it, is that love? Because you got assholes who got a lot of money. You know what I'm saying? It's
That
almost
part.
like it's almost like the college dude that dates the high school girl, right? And he got a
Mm,
car, and he pulls up to the campus, and it's an outdated car, but it's a car.
it's a
You know what I'm
car.
saying? And
Hmm.
he's a college guy, and he can go to college parties. And now she feels grown, and she feels, you know what I'm saying, like, oh, I got a college boy, and he got a job, and he worked at a fast food restaurant, but he got a job. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
He got a job, he got a car, and she's excited about it. You know what I'm saying? Because it's
Yeah.
more than what she has. You know. And he took me to
Mm.
Chili's, and we went on a date
Hey.
to the movies, right? And she's excited about that. So now you okay, let's take the dude that's, what I'm saying, the high value man that got the job and for years in the house and the clothes and all this other stuff, but he's an asshole. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And he
And
doesn't
you
really.
wonder which one they really want because you hear like, oh, I really want you to plan, right? I want to see how creative you can be. And how creative do you have to be if you're spending hundreds of dollars? Like you could just,
How creative are you being if you telling him where he got to take you?
oh yeah, there's zero creativity there. There's
Right.
absolutely
And
no
that's the
creativity.
crazy part. I really struggle with women that talk about you want a man to leave, but you're telling him what to do. Like, if you're telling
Yeah,
him what to
it's
do,
not.
he's following. You see what I'm saying? That is the literal definition of following,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
So, we can go on, but we got to
We
get to
can.
this next topic.
We'll
We
put a
don't.
pin in this for a
Yeah.
season 2 episode.
Right.
And
Um,
speaking of season 2, we'll actually be able to,
to drop it when we can get these
drop season
33
2.
more subscribers. So y'all, like we've been saying, go down, like and subscribe the channel, share the channel. We 33 is not a big number. We can
It's
do this.
not.
We've
It's
done
not.
we did 33 our first day. So when we dropped it. So yeah, y'all go subscribe, hit the bell for the notifications. Turn the notifications on so you know everything that we're doing. So
And I'm
I'm gonna
watching
let
the
you bring
numbers to see if
yeah.
they turn before we get off
Right.
here.
I'm
So
I'm gonna let you bring this one in.
oh
With
Lord.
our
These
sister.
people get on my nerves. Okay. Like we're literally only talking about this because we have a podcast because
Exactly.
I'm over it. So like last week I see that Jada Pinkett Smith wrote a book. And I was thinking, why? And then I
Why?
was like, well, I guess Will wrote one. I mean, not
Mhm.
necessarily that she made the decision because he did, but it made sense. Like, oh, he wrote one, she wrote one. And then I'm watching the interview where she talks about the fact that she and Will have been separated for the past 7 years. So, like, that's really the big news that's, been
Mhm.
floating around out of this book, even though, from what I am to understand, she talks about her childhood. Of course, she brings up Tupac again. And then
Like,
Will, her career, being a mom, so on and so forth. I've always thought Jada was like an odd bird, and I won't say always, in this iteration that she's been married to Will, because I don't
mhm.
think I thought that when she was on A Different World and
And low down
she
dirty
was on Low Down
shame.
Dirty.
Mhm.
Yeah, I didn't feel any
I
kind of
love
way.
that
Like,
Jada.
yeah, I was just like, oh, okay. And then it was just like, what is going on here? And as
Bring
the
back
years
set it
have
off
gone
Jada.
on, maybe that was the line of demarcation. Like, it's just at a certain
Mhm.
point, I don't know what's going on. So clearly, since she's been married and, definitely been a mom, there's just all these stories. And I can't say that have come out. There are stories that the Smith family has reported to us. Now, people are going to say it's their life. They should be able to talk about whatever they want to. Absolutely. Say whatever you want to say. But also, people are going to have something to say as a
Mhm.
result. And the reason I was saying a little earlier that I was feeling a little more tender toward Jada is because I don't really think about her generally as a woman who has grown through being raised by parents with addiction issues. I think she mentioned on one of the interviews that her dad at like 7 was like, I can't be your dad. Like, don't even expect that from me. Right. And so I know a couple of weeks ago we were talking about Kirk Franklin. We were talking about like not really knowing what it's like not to have our dads. And so when I thought about that today, I was like, okay, I don't know exactly how those things turn into what we're looking at now and the different stories and the August Alsina and all of that. But I'm quite sure that that has something to do with the Jada that we see, because even in her red table talk and, her advice giving voice, all of those things, like she's still struggling. Like she's like, yeah, we're still trying to figure it out. They've been separated for 7 years. Like, well, we're just doing the work. And I'm like, are you? Are you? And work to what? Like they finally pinned her down to saying, the goal is for them to find each other, get back together. And I'm not saying they should or shouldn't or whatever, but I just, my overwhelming sense has been that, Jada does not want to be, and she has already said she doesn't want to be in a traditional marriage. And what we have seen come out over this past week is very evident of that, right? Like we've been living apart for 7 years, but we just don't want to file for divorce because I said there would never be any reason why I'd get a divorce, but you're living as a divorced woman. Yes,
Mhm.
yes, but I can't go through with the actual divorce. So it's a lot of stuff there. And
Mhm.
I just feel like she's so unsettled as a person that it's never going to make sense to us. One, because we don't have all the information, but two, I don't know that it'll make sense even to them. I think they're trying to sound deep and evolved. She's like, oh, she was on
I
ayahuasca and all kind of stuff. I'm like, girl, you
listen.
know,
I can't
sis.
tell you how much I don't like the red table talk. I just don't. It's just so
I
weird.
thought the concept was
Okay, the
excellent to
only
have a
one,
multi-generational family of Black women to sit down and talk about
yeah.
issues that
When
have
you
gone
just
through their
so
family.
when you say that, it sounds
Yeah.
cool, but just different women, right?
Oh, yes, absolutely. I don't say the
Right.
concept I think was
Yeah,
great. The
conceptually cool.
execution.
The only red table talk that I've ever really liked or watched all the way through was when she wasn't on it, when it was Will and Kevin Hart. I'm sorry. When he hijacked it and Kevin Hart came through and they had that conversation. But like, here's the thing that I've seen all the commentary. So one thing, here's what irritates me about the commentary. I'm sorry, my eyes are itching. That's why I keep taking my glass off, rubbing them. Because now this whole narrative has turned into men hate women again, and
Mm.
specifically straight men. I saw one post like, "Oh, it's just apparent straight men hate women." It was, I'm just like, bro. When I've seen more
What?
women
Wait,
talking
how did
about it,
we get this? Oh,
exactly
that straight men commenting hate Jada as a Black
right.
woman.
Even though I've
Okay.
seen more women commenting on it than anybody, right?
Oh
Like
yeah.
this ain't just men talking about it; women are talking about it too. If not more so. Everybody's sick of Jada. And so then it's like, oh, they're just people just trying to make Will a victim. Publicly, Will is minding his business, right? And the reason it's annoying is because I have yet to see Will come out and say anything negative about Jada or their marriage. Whatever they're working on, he keeps that pretty close to his chest publicly, right?
Hmm.
I haven't finished the book, his book. I started it some time back, and then been reading other books since. But
Same.
like,
It's,
yeah, no, because it's long. Like,
it is. It is
it's,
that.
it's
I was like,
long,
dang, I might need to crack it again and find out
right?
what I'm
But
missing.
now Will, he got his own fault, slapping Chris and everything else. Like he made that choice, but for all of their inner stuff, Will keeps that inside. She keeps going out and speaking, and so and especially when the conversations like, oh, protect Black women, this, and the third. This woman does not protect her husband, like seemingly at all, right? Because she stayed having him look a fool, you know,
Mhm.
with having this relationship and then an entanglement and blah 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 blah, and then y'all acting like y'all not separated for this long, and then you come out and say he ain't said nothing about being separated. Even if y'all was separated, he's still going slapping folks in your honor, even whether you told him or not. And then you come out and throw him under the bus again. Like I was confused that he's called me wife. He hasn't called me that, and like, why was this necessary to say? You see what I'm saying? Even if it is your truth, like you are not thinking about the people that it affects when you say what you say, or maybe you are. Maybe y'all cleared this with each other, da 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 da, right?
Mhm.
Because then this other video is released with the unboxing of the books, and the whole family is there, and okay, whatever.
Everybody's
Even
like, does this look like a victim?
victims,
Will is
right?
smiling.
Like, no, it looks like a family of actors. So,
I was about to say he's an actor.
right, like they don't, like, come on, Plus, she's already said it. She's already said what she said. What you gonna do? you know so she's doing these interviews, and at every turn you got Will looking crazy. you know like, can you not, if this book is about you, talk about you. You know what I'm saying? Why is it that, and he and even at the red table, and Will, like they had this whole discussion with Will. It was the ladies in Will, and was talking about everything wrong with him, and nothing.
Yeah.
Right? I did see that episode. Like at some point, are we gonna get to your issue? It's all him, and he's sitting there. He just accepting it. Yeah, I had
I
to.
was gonna say he is enabling that, and maybe because he sees. I mean, he admits his own brokenness, but I'm quite sure he sees the depth of brokenness in her. And
Mhm.
what I feel like, based on the the little parts that they've shared, about how they've gotten together and so on and so forth, I think he has at every turn tried to be this knight in shining armor, right? Like,
Mhm.
let me, the bigger I can do this, the better. But for somebody who is so empty, right? Or maybe just doesn't have a concept of what would make her happy, it makes her angry. And so it looks like Will doing great things for her, and her lashing out at him as a
Right.
result of
Even
it.
like when
And
he
so
bought her the house, and she was like, "Oh, I didn't want this house," or "I just
yeah, yeah.
why?" Yeah.
Or I don't want traditional marriage the way that, we know it to be. Okay, cool. So all those rumors for the years of them being in an open relationship, which they probably were in, we
Yeah. I'm yeah. I just get baffled, and I just don't understand how we keep caping for it. You know what I'm saying?
mhm,
Um, and it's not even about, you know, who's doing what, who's doing who. Yeah, like he's just marriage is hard. We know this. You know what I
mhm.
mean? But not only has Will protected her, but he's protected the brand. Like, and I guess they got two different brands. Like Will's brand is wholesome, household name.
It was.
Everybody loves Will, right? Especially to up until the slap. But
Mhm.
but Jada's brand seems to be destroying Will's brand. Like the more of a victim she can become, the like that's her brand, the hurt, the broken. Even the name of the book, oh, worthy. Like, okay. And I'm not saying money is everything, but like, what was so bad about your life all these years with this man? You see what I'm saying? Who were
She's
you?
broke. She's damaged. We cannot look at it through the lens of a healthy, sane person. I hate to say that, but
Mhm.
like, what looks healthy to us, or something that we would celebrate or perhaps want for ourselves and our relationships and our families, it seems like it's very foreign to her, just knowing her childhood. Now, as an adult, I do feel like, regardless of what you went through in your childhood, there should be a point in time in our lives that we have to own what we want our experience to be and what we want our lives to look like going forward. Whether that's, getting therapy, it's medication, it's all of the above. Like, you have to take control of your own life at a certain point. So I
Mhm.
extend her that kind of grace, knowing like what her background is, but also like her age, her access, her like, you have the opportunity to get a hold of this. And the same for Will. Like, you out here looking a whole fool, but
Mhm.
clearly, I mean, all we can deduce is that he's okay with that because he's not saying anything.
Well,
And for the
but he
most part,
never says anything. I don't even, not saying something doesn't make you okay with it, right? Again, he keeps it in house. Like I'm certain he's not okay with a lot that she does. If she's anything that we know who she is, but
yeah.
he keeps it in house. You see what I'm saying? Um,
Well, it
and
only helps, like, being with somebody again that's on the same wavelength as you. Like, I think one of the reasons why people turn, before there was relationship goals, but the reason why people really like them together, outside of like, oh, it's a nice looking couple or gorgeous couple, I think folks thought that they were aligned in
mhm,
terms of their brands, right? Or where they wanted to take their family and what they wanted to do for their careers. And now, yeah, it absolutely seems that she is going to the left, and he's holding the line.
Right. Well,
Where
she ain't had much of a career. Like the only movie she's done that I remember in recent years was Girls Trip, and
oh
then The
yeah,
Red Table. But before that, what was her last? You know what I'm saying? And
yeah.
so I don't know. And then
So you
just
saying
one.
because she hasn't been as successful as him that she's using this as a
Not.
to disrupt
No,
his success?
I don't even think it's just to disrupt. I just think, like you say, it's attention seeking. It's something. You know what I'm saying? Like
Mm-hmm.
I want something more, and it's almost like I don't care who I gotta hurt to get it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because at what point does the sanctity of your marriage come into play? Right? Like there's you don't even talk about your certain parts of your marriage with your friends, like as much as you and I talk, right?
Yeah.
And before you were married, like we've come up talking about so many different things about our lives, and there's so much that we know about each other. But one thing we don't talk about are the inner workings of your marriage.
Mm-hmm.
Even as best friends, like we might talk about some things, some surface stuff, but like those intimate parts or whatever, there's just certain things that are off limits, or should
Mm-hmm.
be. And so even the part where she really threw him under the bus, where she talked about, oh, the part that the audience didn't see, and Chris said, oh, Jason, like, I was kidding. And she told Chris, like, um, oh, he's on some other stuff, like some stuff before it. Like, really? You didn't even have it. Like, he is publicly in front of the world, right? For right or wrong, if he was dead wrong, but he's defending you.
Yeah.
Separated. Like, keep my wife's name out your mouth, and you couldn't even support him in that moment and told him in private, hey, you was wrong for that. Like, Will was wrong. Okay, let's start
Mm-hmm.
there. Will was wrong. But in private, just like when let's go back to the Kiki Palmer thing. Oh, she did something publicly and everybody was like, oh, he should have corrected her privately. Okay,
Yeah.
in that same energy, Jada could have talked that private. And I don't know that she didn't, but that don't sound like she did, because she said in front of everybody too, he owned something else. Oh, I don't know what he owned. Right?
Yeah. It was
Like,
giving me when I saw Shannon's comment, when I asked the question, I was absolutely thinking of like Whitney Houston and Bobby Brown,
mhm.
right? Like because clearly at one point in time she was outside of Michael Jackson, like the the biggest star at that time, and he just she didn't say it at the time, but ultimately talked about how jealous he was. And we saw that kind of like destructive. I mean, some of it was definitely he had to own, but like being in the spotlight at any cost. Is that what we're looking at here? Like, even if it's embarrassing to me, even if it's embarrassing to our family, I gotta get out here
Mhm.
and tap dance so that people can see me. That's
Right.
crazy.
But why does it have to be at the expense of Will? That's the part. Like, okay, you got a book coming out. You're supposed to do interviews. You got a show. Red Table. You can talk about all kinds of parts of you, right? If the book is supposed to be about you, then why are the clips and everything else about him? Because you're using him to validate you and
Yeah.
validate the book. Like, and you have to tear him down to do it. He's Will Smith. You can say anything. You can say anything good, and it's gonna have the same effect, if not more. You know what I mean? But
She
that
don't like
doesn't
him.
work for you. Yeah,
She
really,
doesn't like him.
I really think she doesn't like him.
She don't like
You
him.
can't like somebody and say what you say about him and do what you do. You know, and he still maintains his silence. You know,
Yeah, I don't think she likes him. Yeah,
yeah,
that's pretty that's pretty clear. And but to hear her, explain it's just like, oh, we're finally like learning how to love one another and accept, each other for who we are, not who we want the other to be. And I'm like,
right. Like it's I don't know. I don't know. I don't like feeling this way about people, but she gets under all of my skin.
mm-hmm,
Like every time I see her. And um it's a shame. And then I hate this anytime you say something about her, oh, it's an attack on black women. Jada does not represent black women. I'm sorry. You know what I'm saying? And yes, I'm speaking for black women. She don't represent y'all. She's not. She ain't
I
y'all
was like,
leader.
oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying? So,
Oh, you guys
um,
are speaking for black women.
because and I'm not and I'm saying I'm not gonna let her speak for y'all because if she does, it ain't good.
It's not a good,
It ain't
it's
a
not a
good
good
thing. So I'm
person.
trying to
Yeah.
help y'all. Don't let her speak for y'all. Don't let her speak for y'all.
Mm-hmm.
There are so many women that uh I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna just see how I would say it, that are so much better than what she's doing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And so, you don't have to tear down your man to elevate yourself, especially in an age where, oh, I want a man to lead and da 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 da. She ain't got behind him in nothing
Mm-hmm.
that we've seen, right? Nothing. She's more so moving herself to the side and standing on his shoulders because again, without him, there you don't see the red table talks. Without him, who cares about this book? People want to read the book because they want to read about her and him.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? They want to see what she gonna say about him.
Yeah. That's true.
And it could be a traumatic childhood, and that's sad. I feel for anybody who's had that. But without him, do we want to hear her story? With him, do we want to hear her story?
I was like,
Right?
I still am like, I can't give
Yeah.
her my coins. Somebody's gonna have to give me the clip notes. But
And so we make a thing out of nothing. Like this whole alopecia thing. Listen, 1 in 3 men, right? Guess what? Cheat code. I have alopecia, right? Like male pattern baldness. How many bald men are in the world? And just because women think it looks good, oh, a bald head is sexy, blah 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 blah, that don't mean that men don't go through a level of mortality. Like for me, when I lost my hair, looking at myself in the mirror and not seeing the person that I used to see is hard,
mm-hmm.
regardless of how much you like it, right? Regardless of how much you think a bald head is sexy, blah, 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 blah. It is difficult because it is a change in life. When your body no longer does what it used to do, when you no longer look how you used to look, and there ain't a wig or nothing, but you see cats getting the units, and then you're shamed if you do that. Like women can go get wigs and everything else, and extend blah, 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 blah. But if a man does it, because he's not comfortable with how he looks, it's a problem. You feel me? So it's like rally over here,
Mm-hmm.
shame over here,
Yeah.
over the same thing. You know what I mean? And we're so divisive and stuff like that. And it's just hard to watch this woman betray a man who, at least publicly, has done nothing but right by you.
Right.
We can't speak for their marriage behind closed doors. We know it ain't perfect, and we know Will ain't perfect. He said that because he's so self-deprecating half the time.
Right.
You know what I
Right.
mean? And she's never like, no, she's sitting there when he
She
talking
like,
bad
yep,
about himself, she be sitting there agreeing. Yep,
two
yep, yep.
times.
You
Mm-hmm.
know. But if he mentions something about her, well, I mean, and then there's the time where she is the poster child of a lack of accountability. She is the poster child of betraying the sanctity of a marriage, you know, um, and running off at the mouth. Like
Running off at the mouth.
the best thing that I can say, and I've seen this post. These aren't my words, but I'll definitely repeat it. Is Jada, take us out the group chat, baby. Like you say everything we didn't ask for and don't really need to know, because Will is still gonna be Will, no matter how much you tear him down. I know y'all. Oh, Will ain't a victim. Okay, but did we ask Jada for this? You
Mm-mm.
know, and if he's not a victim, tell me what he did. Tell me what he's come out publicly and said. Right? Entanglement, and he had to check. You had a relationship. Oh, I had
That's
an
funny.
entanglement. You know,
Entanglement.
so y'all keep commenting. Drop your comments about
These
thou art
folks.
worthy, Jada. You know,
Hmm.
um, yeah, I couldn't be Will. You couldn't. I don't know.
He's a victim. It's abuse at this point. I, you know,
At least he's real.
That's
I
how I
mean,
feel. I mean, and maybe not in the traditional sense that we think of victims, but I just she's trying to make him one, even if he doesn't
right.
feel like one. But it doesn't make any sense. And
Hmm.
again, if this is for your personal healing, if you're on some sort of journey, like do that. It doesn't seem that anything that they have come up with or have done is really helping to settle whatever the issue is. It's just like one more outlandish thing after another,
Hmm.
after another, after another. And so, like, I don't know if you want to be healed.
Well, you know what? And shameless plug, I write about it in my book. Hello, me. Nice to meet you. A journey to self-discovery. People would rather remain hurt than do what it takes to heal, right? Because
I
hurt
believe it.
garners more attention. No, healed people don't really bring attention, right? But when you can talk about, oh, the pain, you know, and people that make social media post about, oh, I'm like, we don't talk about healing on social media. We don't talk about, oh, I'm healed, I'm this and this. And we talk about what we're going through, you
Mm-hmm.
know, because it garners attention or whatever and sympathy, and people relate to pain. And when you do that, it gives, when people relate to your pain and thoughts and prayers you to death and all the encouragement,
Thoughts and prayers.
you get that dopamine hit. What's the incentive to heal then, if people are just going to rally around your pain? You know what I mean? And so those who want to heal, who truly want to heal, will go through the process of healing, and it's going to take work. It's going to be rough. It's going to be, healing is painful because you have to actually face said pain, you know, and especially when you have to face yourself through it, you know, that mirror is a mug. And I pray that, you know, yes, yes. So y'all, yes, my mama does say that. And taking your
That
ass
is
somewhere and sit it down.
sit it down. I
Whatever you
remember that.
asking her for, yeah, she going whatever you asking for, your ass somewhere and sit it down. Mama, can I have a cookie? Boy, cookie your ass somewhere and sit it down. Oh, I
Oh
love my
Lord.
mama. So,
Oh goodness. Yeah,
but yeah,
same.
yeah,
Will
absolutely.
or even we were talking about those dates a little earlier, and I'm on record as saying, as a girl that grew up with sisters and girl cousins, we didn't really consider what boys were going through because we didn't have any boys. It was
Hmm.
all about, us and, making sure that we protected ourselves and that we were treated well and all of those things. Like nobody ever said treat boys well. Those are things that I had to learn as I had male friends, and now, yeah, to have nephew and boy cousins and that type, or like second cousins at this point, little cousins, to really consider their feelings. And then definitely as I dated, and trial and error, trial and error, trial and error, even in the spaces where I could look at them and say, like, you did this to me or you hurt me. It took a lot of awareness, to get to the point where I could see where I didn't necessarily treat them well either. And in some cases, how I treated them might have been the reason why I was treated a certain way. But again, it takes awareness, it takes maturity, it takes being willing to see yourself not always in that shining, gleaming light. Like, we all are capable, unfortunately, of some pretty hard things. And so we have to have those conversations with ourselves. We want what feels good to us. That's being human. But we also have to recognize that so does the next person. They want
Hmm.
to be treated well, they want to be regarded. They want to be thought of. They want to be loved. They want to be considered. And so, we're not saying to disregard yourself, but there is a space where both things can be true, that you can honor yourself and honor someone else, especially someone that you want to be in relationship with. And I think if most people consider someone else as someone's child, someone's brother, someone's dad, someone's whoever, like they belong to somebody just like you belong to somebody. I had my groceries delivered yesterday and they were running late. And I was, like, I can't believe this. I was in the house doing all of that. But I went outside and it was like a young girl trying to like grab all the bags and meet us. She was a little further away from my actual house. I don't know if the GPS wasn't working or whatever, but she was trying to scramble. And I felt so bad. I'm like, this is somebody's daughter out here trying to make money. And she was so nice. She was just like, I'm so sorry. This is my first day doing this. And I was like, you know what? It's cool. Right. And so even when things inconvenience us, or even when things aren't what we want them to be, like consider the next person and what their experience is. And that would be on the dating front. Once you're married, like I don't even know why we should be having these kinds of conversations about how to treat your spouse. Like really? But I guess that's necessary too. Like, don't embarrass them. Don't mistreat them. Don't abuse them. Don't, like those should not be things that we should have to say. But unfortunately, when people are selfish, when they're only thinking of themselves, they do these types of things and then wonder like why my husband doesn't want to be with me anymore. I don't know why women seem to think that men have an unending or just a never-ending reservoir of everything. Like you have a never-ending reservoir of money. You have a never-ending reservoir of sex.
Patience.
You have a never-ending reservoir of patience. You have like at a certain point in time, and depending on the man you're dealing with, you gonna hit the bottom. And when they are done, God bless, they are absolutely done. And so it would just behoove you to really take some time to consider, hey, the person that I'm dating, the person I'm in relationship with, even the person that I say I do to. For women that are married or if you're engaged, like we still have to be active participants in our marriages. It's not like, oh, I got him to propose or oh, I got him to say I do and now I'm through. Like we have to continue showing up in that marriage every single day. And of course, they need to be doing that as well for everybody that's going to say, it
It
goes.
goes both ways.
Yes. Yes, it does. I'm just speaking to the women because I'm a woman. And I know, yes, there are days when we don't feel like it, but I consider there's days that they don't feel like it either.
Yeah, most days.
All
But
right, hey, hold on now.
no, I'm saying like it's listen, you do things because they need to be done, not because you want to do them. Like the dishes need to be washed.
Right,
Who wants to wash dishes?
right.
You know what I'm saying? I want peace, but I have to support my wife's emotions right now. She's feeling something, right? Do I want to do that? Do I want to listen to her cry? No, but I will because I love her, you know. And
Mm-hmm.
so I've said this before and I say it often. When you think about small children, you teach little boys to look out for little girls. You don't hit little girls. You open doors for little girls. Then you teach little girls to look out for themselves. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You teach little girls what not to do for little boys. You know, oh, he need to do for like boys, do for her, girls, do for yourself,
Yep.
right? And then you grow up and then you're taught you're the prize. You're taught you're the favor factor. You're taught he's supposed to work for you. You're taught he's supposed to pursue you. He's supposed to protect you. He's supposed to provide for you. We don't echo or to stand on the mountain of what she's supposed to do for him. And so unfortunately, there's a lot of women that don't know what that looks like.
I blame dads.
You know, you know what? But no, but in a way, yes, because I always say fathers give horrible dating advice to girls, right? Because their job is to protect her, and he looks at her, oh, my baby, my jewel, my princess, and he wants some man to come in and do for her what he's done for her. And that's not always real life, because she's
No.
always going to see daddy as daddy. A daddy's girl is, oh, you're never going to be daddy, and when my daddy did, I had to tell an X amount, but then go smash your daddy there,
That's so
because
ridiculous.
I'm serious, because I got tired of being like, stop bringing up your daddy, you know,
Hmm.
um, or lack thereof,
Or lack thereof.
and
Yeah.
so the thing is, like you said, it's we're not even allowed to look for those emotional components, right? We're supposed to have an endless threshold for pain and patience and stuff like that, where she gets to say and express anything she wants, but when we do it, we have to be tactful, because like it's in expressing our feelings, we have to protect her feelings, right? And
Mhm.
so again, where are the safe spaces for men to not just not be men but be human? You
Yeah.
feel me? And so there's always this expectation of always being in control, and never struggle, and can't be on the bottom, because our job is to make sure she's okay. But who is there to make sure we're okay when we're emotionally distressed, right? One, oh, it's go to therapy. And then we talk about how many broken men are there, and we never mention who broke them, right? We never want to take responsibility for that and everything else. So it's that's what they forget to tell her, that failures is what you said. The girls aren't taught to do it every time. Yeah, and it's what, and the question is this: in 2023, when it comes to dating and marriage, what do men have to look forward to? And ladies, I would challenge this: ask yourself this, and be honest. There's nobody listening to you right now. You're at home, you're watching this show. This is what I want you to ask yourself. Look in the mirror and ask yourself this, and don't be delusional when you say this, because nobody's watching you, right? I'm serious. Don't lie to yourself. But because me and Shannon actually had this discussion, what is the benefit of you when you are with a man, right? You're dating, or when, how is he benefiting from your presence in his life, right? And I guess that's another way of saying, what do you bring to the table? You see what I'm saying? But
Hmm.
how is his life better with you in it? Not necessarily easier. How is he better? How is his life better? You know, with you in it. What value do you
Dang,
bring?
this is
Right?
bad. Whew.
Right? Well, no,
Have
but
mercy.
these are things that we hear. I know, you know what I'm saying?
No,
Because
I'm with you. This is
this is
this is the
something that people,
crossroads, honey.
yeah, this is something that people have argued with me in the past, when I said men are the only one that have exclusive gender roles, right? As far as expectation, as far as like the provider, the protector, filling up the gas, taking out the trash, fixing this, lifting heavy stuff. But when it comes to women's gender roles, right? And I do not see childbirth as a gender role, right? Not everybody has or wants the children, right? That's a biological function, and I'm not discounting the miracle of birth, so don't get it twisted, right? But what I'm saying is, when it comes to women's gender roles in the relationship, nowadays he's looked at to help her with those, right? Traditional gender roles talk about like cooking, cleaning, all this other stuff. We both do that, but we both ain't under the hood of a car, right? If we see a woman pumping her own gas, either where is the man, or why is he still in the car? It's right. If she's taking out the trash, if she's doing any of these, it's a problem. If she's paying for something, oh, even 50-50 on the bills. Oh, even though she's benefiting from all this stuff, it's all a problem. You see what I'm saying? But
Shannon cutting up in the comments.
But it's real. I've said, what's wrong with
I'm
your
pro
man?
gender role, so that I'm laughing,
Or
but I don't
if you
mind
do
playing my
no, or
position,
if you
honey.
do have a woman that has those gender roles, like I've seen women admonish other women for fixing her man's plate.
I'd be
What you
like,
fixing
mind your
his plate
business.
for? Right? No, they're literally like he can get his own plate.
Child.
Right? It's crazy. It's crazy. But we can go on and on about that. But y'all listen.
Well, certain
Um,
families you can't get away with that kind of stuff. I mean, I guess
certain
if that's
families
like
it's
a
like
friends only function, but in
yeah,
a
why
family,
your man ain't got a why your man ain't got I've seen that too. So like
child,
same energy. Yes, I have seen that. The women will get on your head if
them
your man,
auntie,
yeah, yeah. And if you don't do it, auntie's got to cook and fix your plate. Oh, it's a problem.
it is a
You know what I'm saying?
problem.
She'll, hey, girl, get here in this kitchen, and we'll show you and show her how to fix the plate. So yes, I have seen that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But
But
again,
clearly, this is happening. Like you said, it may not, be in everybody's circles, but it's happening somewhere, for y'all to have these experiences. I just don't know how women like that are expecting anything.
because that's how a lot of them have been raised. And I will say this, at the end of the day, it's about protection, right? Nobody wants to get played, and everybody, like, if I can get a one up and if I can benefit from you before you can play me, you know what I'm saying, I'm gonna set a certain precedent. So if I
Mm,
always have you trying to play catch up or feeling like you have to do this and this because I'm above, right? It's let me play this above role and you're supposed to be doing this to get me, then you can't play me because I'm the prize and I'm
mm-hmm.
keep you working for me versus, hey, we're doing things for each other and it's okay. Nobody
Yeah,
wants to be vulnerable. You know what I mean? It's it's a lot, and so a lot of men try to protect themselves by being players and, oh, we don't love them hoes and mob and blah 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 blah. You know, uh, it's just at the end of the day, like I said, everybody wants love. We don't know how to go about getting it, and we don't want to get played. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
True.
Oh yeah, it's failure on both sides. We're not.
Mhm.
We definitely will not deny that.
Yeah. Well, it's hard to be a
Um,
husband when you ain't grow up and went around.
I was gonna say then, a lot of folks are winging it at best.
Yeah. So let's stop acting like we not though. But y'all, this has been another episode of the Crossroads. We really love and appreciate y'all. We love the engagement this evening. It was lit tonight.
Absolutely.
Now let's light up those subscriptions. Please don't forget to subscribe. Make sure you share this with at least two people. Ask them to subscribe. Um, Tune in to the older episodes and everything else. We've talked about some of everything over the last 3 years, y'all. And it's been an amazing run, and we want to continue this run. So 33 to go, 33 to go. If two tells two, we'll meet that in no time. So we will not be on tomorrow, and next week we will have older episodes up for you guys to view and everything else, and we'll make
Yeah.
announcements
Dre
for
going on
when we release.
vacation.
Yeah,
Love
yeah,
y'all, but
yeah.
mm.
Dre's
Yeah,
Dre Dre is unplugging. I had my time this past week. I was off
I
last
do.
week.
Mm-hmm.
Dre will be off next week, which is why we're doing a Monday, preparing for that right now. But until then, just make sure you're watching the old episodes and catching up on some of the things. Pick out some of the topics. Hey, look, share some of the episodes that you enjoyed. We got some provocative topics. We talked about long distance relationships. We talked about religion and relationships, sex and religion, right?
That was a
Um,
good one.
yeah, we've had a whole lot. I can't even think of all the topics. We had some Q&As. We've had some guests on there. So like check out all the episodes. It's really, really great stuff and great
And
conversation.
comment. We get
Yeah,
in the comments and respond, and we love to hear what you have to say.
yeah, absolutely. So with that, y'all, we will see you in 2 weeks.
Mhm. It'll be Halloween. Are y'all going trick or treating, or y'all gonna hang with us?
I don't know.
So
Are
don't
we
have
gonna
me
dress
on
up?
here by
Are we
myself.
are we dressing up?
Oh God. Well, let's talk through that.
We'll see. Yeah, we'll
I
see what
want you to
that looks
trust me. Are we gonna be here?
like. Right. So until then, we love y'all, and always remember.
Be free to be you.
We
Take
love
care.
y'all. See
Have
y'all
a good
soon.
one.